means I'm going to have a bit of repair work to do on the electric fence. Go on, Scram! Go on! You're very naughty. Aren't you? You're wicked. You're wicked piglets.
Cathy Swingland is an organic farmer in East Sussex. She has farmed organically at Clayton Farm for the last 9 years. For her, putting the animals' welfare first and consideration for the environment are basic to her organic ethos.
They're eating quite a lot. There's a lot there obviously growing.
Clayton Farm is a mixed farm, at any one time having up to 100 pigs of all ages, 80 cattle and 200 to 300 sheep, as well as chickens for eggs and for the table, and turkeys too. Mixed farming and crop rotation are fundamental to organic farming.
They all need to obviously spend time with the boar. This is at the moment, our only boar. So these, you can see the breeding's all a little bit different. We've got pure Gloucester Old Spot, and then these are mixtures. They've got some Old Spot in them, they've got some large white in them, they've got some Duroc. So they're quite a good shape from a sort of breeding and meat production point of view. And they also tend to have bigger litters than the purebred Gloucester Old Spot. She routinely produces 6 or 7, whereas the biggest litter we've had from any of these sows is 21 piglets, which is a hell of a litter. They pretty much always have company. They've either got their piglets or they're running with other sows or the boar. A couple of these are in pig, and hopefully one will be soon when she comes in season. So they all know one another. All our pigs know one another, so they don't mind. We can sort of mix and match, and they all get on okay. We need to do some fencing repairs, otherwise the same thing can happen again. They're really impossible. Sooner or later they outwit me. Doesn't take long. At the moment they're not so good at undoing knots, so.
All farming is basically the same. It relies on nature, the sun, the earth and water to produce our food. But it is the differences in the farming techniques that count. Basically, organic farmers improve their productivity simply by crop and animal rotation, natural manures and mechanical cultivation, thus improving the soil, maintaining fertility and controlling pests. Organic farmers claim that their own methods result in healthier, tastier food, and that it is better for the environment, for the farm animals, and for us human beings who eat the farm's produce. Organic farming also helps the local economy because it employs more people than intensive farming. Much of farming practice is pretty much the same though. Hay has to be cut, dried, turned, baled and stored whether you are an organic farmer or not. Organic farmers will always endeavour to put the welfare of their animals and the ecosystem first. Pests are controlled by crop rotation, never allowing the burden to build up, but also never trying to eradicate the problem entirely. Sustainability is the key word. Crop production may never be at the same level as an intensive non-organic farm, but the benefits are manifest. An organic farm would control disease by allowing the animals more space, a more natural existence and a healthier lifestyle.
And she's actually a bit of a bread fiend, but I'm going to give her, she had some bread yesterday. About that much food, and just pick out a few little morsels for her. I think she can have some vegetables. She's not moving very far at the moment from her piglets, which is fine, it's to be expected, so it's quite nice for her to have a bit of variety. She started off in this pen down at the bottom here, and then just before she was due to farrow she decided she didn't actually want to be down here, so she annihilated one corner of the electric fencing, moved about 50 yards along the bank, and made a nest for herself in the woods with some branches and by digging up the earth, and about 2 or 3 days later produced her litter of piglets about 50 yards further along the bank. They're such monkeys. They can lead a pretty independent life. Quite intrepid here.
An independent life, as opposed to keeping pigs in pens, is of course absolutely wonderful for the pig, but at times not quite so easy for the farmer.
Oh, there she is. Hey, Annie. This is where she built her nest. She's actually quite house proud, so she got really organised with. I mean, it's amazing. She gets these branches lined up, builds a little bank of earth with some greenery in there and branches and things. We've obviously had to bring water up for her. And this is where she's been for a week actually, and then she's just obviously overnight decided to move down over there to a slightly different position. So I'll just take her food over down there. Monkey. She regularly eats lying down, aren't you? You're a monkey. She's got 6 fine little piglets. Look at that. It's like having grapes popped into her mouth. Eating lying down. She's actually moved, interestingly, she's moved into a little bit more dappled shade here, so she's got a little bit more sun than she had up there, I think, which is probably what she wants if it's turned a bit cooler. I'll just go and check her water. Really good, they're really lively, aren't you? You're really healthy, aren't you? It's just incredible what the piglets can do. I found her when she farrowed. She was still giving birth. She was just having the last one when I found her last week, and they're just so independent. The piglets, they sort of clamber over her body and find the teats within a minute or two of popping out. It's just extraordinary. And then within a day or two they're rootling around with their noses in the earth, rootling about. If you look at them now, they're just little muddy noses. The wonderful thing is that they've got the freedom to choose where they want to be and what they want to do, which is, it's sort of a luxury in a way, but I think it's a necessity to be able to feel good about what we're doing, how we're farming. The space and that freedom is a luxury, isn't it, in a way, but I think it is true. It's a necessity, and it has to be paid for. The difference you only really appreciate if you see what goes into it and the kind of lives that they lead, and that comes at a price. You know, the space and the time, which is it's that costs money, really, that attention to detail and those possibilities. The more diverse you are, obviously the more different aspects. If all we did was pigs, then it would kind of make it easier in some ways, but it would be much less good for the land. It would be much less organic. The more mixed it is, the more true it is to the principles, and we can rotate her, so we don't have to use the same bit of land for pigs all the time. We can put cattle in here, we can rest it, we have to have that flexibility. The chickens can come in woodland areas as well. The whole thing mixes in.